Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So for this vlog is I'm gonna make a year-ender vlog for today. So we've got a year-ender vlog. So we've got some over here, all of my gaming stuffs and gaming accessories and gaming handhelds and also gaming console, right? So here we go, guys. So let's go now, guys. I have to start up with the first, some of my first of my gaming handhelds and also gaming accessories when I am still in the Philippines all throughout the year. Okay, so let's go gonna get over it. Let's go gonna get over it and let's go gonna start. Okay, so first I've got my also right over here when I am still in the Philippines. I also have my Game Boy Advance SP right over here, which is from the Nintendo, right? Nintendo Game Boy Advance SP is still a good one. It's also a really perfect gaming handle for me when I am playing. So I am playing here inside the house, so in my room. So this because yeah, it's still good. It's still a nice one. It's still on good looking and working, and I just replace it with a new battery also, right? So right, yes. Also next is also we've got right. So next also is also I've got over here. Yes, I also have my Nintendo 3DS, right? So here we go. So we've got my Nintendo. Here we go. I got my Nintendo 3DS right over here. It's still I haven't been modded it yet. So but you know I don't know how to mod it. But yeah, I think I'm good. I'm good with not. I'm good with that. It's not been modified, right? So I'm good with it. Yeah, I'm good. So there's no there's no there's no need to modify it if you really want to have some games. So wait, they just have some games right over here. So right over here is also my fully modded my full modded. I don't know if it's modified, but it has a lot of games right in here. It's because there's a SD card right over here. So we've got my Nintendo DSi, right? So I've got my Nintendo DS right over here, which also has a camera, right? So they got camera right here, and it's also a really good, yeah, perfection at its finest, right? So perfect. And also I really love this one also. We got some stylus, right? So perfect a stylus. So I think my 3DS doesn't have a stylus, right? So yeah, look at that. So and it's also a really good mint condition, which is also, yeah. Okay, so next one is also I have my Nintendo DS Lite right over here. So is in a case. Okay, I've got my Nintendo DS Lite right over there. So yes, nice, and also a good one for me to have it. So okay, let's get over to it into some, yeah. So after that, so we're gonna have to go to the latest one. So we've got right over here is also my Nintendo Switch Lite. So which is this one right over here, from which that is Calico. It's my first Nintendo Switch Lite. It's my Nintendo Switch Lite. Okay, so it is also I've got another Nintendo Switch Lite over here. Is for the second account for the Pokemon Unite. Alright, so yeah, so since I have two Pokemon Unite accounts, so and since Pokemon Unite doesn't need want to have a multiple accounts for one game, right? So yeah, I need to. So next is also I have my Nintendo Switch one over here, which is the version 2. So good, and also I still good condition today. So it's still in a good condition and it's still working, right? So I bought this when I'm still in the Philippines, and also the Nintendo also the two Nintendo Switch Lite I also have in the Philippines. So when I get here, I bought the Nintendo Switch OLED right over here in the USA. Yeah, the Nintendo Switch OLED. And it's also the next is also I got the latest also is the Nintendo, which is also the Nintendo Switch 2 right over here. It's also a really good upgrade for the Nintendo Switch, right? Yeah, and it's also next is we're gonna go into the retro handheld console. So okay, let's gonna get over the retro hand console. So I have this retro handheld console when I'm still in the Philippines, right over here, and which is still a good one, and it's still playable, right? Still playable. So there's have been scratched from the screen, since it doesn't have a tempered glass, right? So okay, and next is also this bootleg. So these two are bootlegs. So this still also this is also a bootleg retro handheld console, right? So some others say it's a fake, right? But yeah, there's no fake for me. Okay, there's no fake. So it's still in a good condition. It's all working. Okay, so next is also the original retro handheld console, and which my first retro handheld console is the Anbernic RG35XX right over here. So I don't know what's happening here. It's black already, so I think uh, it's not updated the operating system, right? So I'm still working on it to work this on again. Okay, so the next one is also I have this Mio Mini Plus right over here. So I've got the Mio Mini Plus right over here. It's still a good, yeah, awesome and perfect game. Okay, retro handheld gaming console. So just like, yeah, the design is just like the Game Boy, right? So Game Boy. So next is also, okay, where is that? Okay, I didn't see it. Okay, I haven't seen that one. Okay. Okay, here it goes. So I've got my Unburnic RG35XXH. So it's on horizontal, right? So the other one is a vertical. So this one right here is the horizontal, right? And it's also next is we're gonna get over. So I'm gonna have to put this one right over here. So next is they're gonna get over to the PlayStation, right? So we got over some PlayStation Portable. So, oh, okay, I forgot something. Okay, I've got also this Trim UI. I got also the Trim UI Smart Pro retro handheld gaming console, right? So it is also a retro handheld gaming console. Trim UI is a good one also, and you can, yeah, it's perfect for you to hold it on if you like this one. So perfect for PlayStation Portable games, right? Okay, all right. So the next is we're gonna go to the the next is we're gonna get over to the PlayStation, right? So right over here I've got my PlayStation Portable. So I don't know what version is this one, right? So and it's also my second PlayStation Portable, is also my second PlayStation Portable. So I got two PlayStation Portable right over here, right? So on to the next is I've got this PlayStation Vita. So I got a PlayStation Vita. Where I was gonna put this one, okay, right over here. So I've got my PlayStation Vita in here, which is still in this bag. Okay, why it is so, yeah, why it is so dusty when this it's so dusty, but it's in the case why it's so dusty. Right over right here is my PlayStation Vita right over here. So I bought this when I'm still in Philippines, right? So this is a good handheld retro console right over here, which is still working. Yeah, I always playing this one, playing Spider-Man, right? So this is a good handle when you are playing Spider-Man. So I'm gonna have to put it back right over here, right? So okay, so where else gonna put this one? So I'm gonna put this one right over this mini table right over, since my table is so small, right? So let's get over to the okay, let's get over to this one right over here. Oops, okay. And yeah, I just got this recently. It's my Mangmei Air X. It's an Android handheld console in which you can play also some retro games. So but I chose to use this as a Android handheld console, right? So today since today there's so many Android handheld console now, right? It's also releasing some Android handheld console. It's also a really still good game handheld gaming console right now. It's the Mangmi Air X. All right, so okay, so I don't know where I'm gonna put this one. So okay, I'm gonna have to put this one right over here. So let's get over to this one right over here. So since I also have this, where is that? Okay, okay. So here it goes. So this is a retro stick, right? It's a game stick. It's a game stick. It's a retro, full of retro games right over here. It's a game stick full of retro games and Street Fighter, Pokemon, Super Mario, and anything, right? So it's so good right here. And it's also some Nintendo 64 games, some PlayStation Portable, some yeah, and 64 GameCube, like that, Sega Genesis right over here in this retro game stick, right? So okay, so okay, let's get over to the controllers. So I have some controllers for my Nintendo Switch right over here. Is the PXN, which I use it for my Nintendo Switch OLED. Alright, and also I've got this another two controllers right over here. Right, so I got these two controllers right over here, which is also, I use this for my Switch 2, and also I use this also for my Switch 1. So yeah, separate controllers, yeah, you know that. So, and it's also, I got this also grip, joy grip for my Nintendo Switch. Well, I think this is from my Nintendo Switch OLED, right? So because there's no two, so if you see there's no two, yeah, you got that one. So so this is the Nintendo for my Nintendo Switch OLED, since my first Nintendo Switch is a Skull and Co brand, right? So okay, let's get over to another one. Okay, get one here, over here. And also I've got this, the Legend of Zelda controller right over here, which is from the Power A, and there's also, yeah, a battery operated. So this is a battery operated, right? Is it like, yeah, okay, it's not, yeah, the battery is not working anymore. So yeah, it's just powered by a double A battery, right? So okay, next, where the hell I'm gonna put this one? Okay, so since my phone right over here, so see, I don't have a, so what I got right over here is also, I got some 8-bit do SM30 Pro right over here. Is also a really good one if you are into some minimalistic gaming, right? And it's also a really good one, and it's also a perfect controller for your a perfect controller if you are traveling, right? So this is a good one also. And also the alternate for this one is also the 8-bit do light right over here. We got the 8-bit do, I've got also the 8-bit do light, and it's also perfect for traveling, minimalistic controller for your Nintendo Switch, right? And it's a good one also if you are using your Nintendo Switch Lite, right? Next one is a good one right over here. So yep, this also, right? There are two 8-bit do right over there. We've got the SM30 Pro, we've got the 8-bit do Lite, and they also released a new 8-bit do Lite 2, in which has a Joy-Con on it, right? So this doesn't have a Joy-Con, right? I was only using this one right over here for the D-pad. So that is the difference, right? Okay, also right over here is, I got my Joy Grip for the Skull and Co, right? So this one right here, and which is also has a controller, right? So that is the first controller that I use for my Nintendo Switch 1, in which it has a problem with the I think the problem in here is the shoulder button, right? Yeah, it's a shoulder button, right? The problem with the shoulder button when you're playing Pokemon Unite is so hard to press, but it's not sometimes it's not working. The other is working, but the others are not. So yeah. Okay, so next is we're gonna get over another Nintendo Switch controller right over here, and which is this one right over here. The latest one is, which also I have to charge separately for this tool right over here, right? So since it is not gonna be, yeah, like that one. So at the back, so that's one right there is the USB-C port, and the other one right here is also the USB-C port. So yeah, it's still a good one. Is also can fit into your OLED and onto your Nintendo Switch 1 also, right? So next is also, I got over here a wired controller for my Nintendo Switch again. So it's a turquoise color. It's still good and it's still working, right? If you want to have only have one like this one. So yeah, it's a wired controller. So it is only having a one Joy-Con right over here, right? So if you want to play some games that you want, so the ZL in the ZR right over here, right? The zoom, yeah, that's the zoom right over there. So next is also this wired controller again for the, yeah, this is really heavy, right? Yeah, this is really heavy. So this is from PDP, right? So Nintendo Switch controller is Super Mario Brothers, right? Super Mario edition, Super Mario Toad, and this one right here is you're gonna have to take it off. So this one right here, you're gonna have to take this off. So this is gonna have to check because you know, for you to check it out. Right over there, so you can see you're gonna have to take this off and gonna have to open this one right over there. So since I think it's a I don't know, it's a battery, all right? So but you know, you're gonna have to very much, okay, and you have to, and it's also, yeah, it's also a mappable controller right over here at the back, so which is still a good one also if you want to have, and also a really nice, it's so clickable, right? So it is a clickable one. So next is also we get over to this retro controller right over there. So we've got a retro controller from my retro gaming stick right over here. The other one is broken, right? But still the one that over here is still working if I want to use it up, right? So okay, that, and also for my, and also for another, yeah, where's that, and also for my Nintendo Switch again, it's also right over here, is the split pad Pro Compact from Hori, which is also the Pokemon Pikachu edition. And I also already have another one right over here, and which is also the Legends Arceus, right? This is the Legends Arceus right over there. So split pack compact from Hori. So, and it's also, where's the next one? Okay, we're gonna get over to the PlayStation, right? So we gonna get over to the PlayStation. I've got over for my PlayStation 4 right over here, and there's also another one, which is also another one right here for my PlayStation. So let's get over to the last two console that I have. All right. So let's get over to the last, okay? Let's get over to the last console that I have, okay? So I'm gonna have to take this off so that you will see all of this, okay? So this is my PlayStation 2 Slim. So which was also this one right over here. I have the controller, the wired controller, and it's also, I also got the third-party controller, which is the wireless one. Is also a modified controller for the PlayStation 2, which also I have the receiver in here. This is the sender, right? This is the sender, and also this is the receiver for the wireless controller. And I've got some, and I also have got some memory card for the PlayStation 2 game, in which I also made some progress for the game that over there. Okay, so let's go get over to my PlayStation 4. So right over here is my PlayStation 4, right? So, and it's also the monitor that I use is this one, is the portable monitor. Since I don't have no room for the HDMI into the TV, so I am using this portable monitor for my PlayStation 4, right? So right over here is my PlayStation 4, and which is the Destiny edition, right? It's still in a good condition, is still working, and is still, I really love playing the Destiny game, right? So highly addictive, highly appreciate game that I have, and also are really good and kind of addictive to me, right? So but you know, I have to maintain the balance of it. All right, okay. So alright, I think that's it for today's vlog, right? So, and I think that's all of my gaming consoles and also gaming accessories, right? So you're already watching the previous one, right? All of my gaming, all of my video games that I have, right? So yes, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy, and please don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so that you will notify all of my upcoming future videos. Okay, so stay tuned because I'm gonna give you some of my good stuff here on my channel. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy. So see you again on the next one.